what the heck is actually going on with Liverpool right now? In this video, I'm just gonna be trying to find reasons, breaking down possible explanations for why we stink right now, like why we suck, why do we suck so bad at the moment. And I feel like a common topic in the fan base, right? A common point in the fan base that a lot of fans like to make is that, first of all, RIP Jota and his brother Andre Jota. I mean, yeah, Andre Jota, right? Jota was their last name. RIP to the both of them, bro. Like, it's still tragic to this day, bro. Even like saying that is insane because these are guys, or Jota was someone I used to watch on the TV all the damn time, and for Portuguese people what fans of Porto, right? Andre was a player that they watch, that they see, like, you know. So like their presence, them being gone, like that presence leaving is gonna leave like a hole. Like, it's still crazy to say to this day, right? But I just feel like a lot of people in the fan base, you know, kind of use the Jota passing away. I wouldn't say an excuse because, in my opinion, I don't think it's an excuse, but I think it's a valid reason. So I would say people in the fan base are using the death of Jota as a reason to basically conclude as to why we are playing so bad, or as to why we are currently sitting in 11th place. And whilst I do hear that angle, you know, because obviously at the end of the day, the players kind of spend more time with him than they do with their families, right? And I always use that analogy, or not even analogy, but like that term, because it literally does. That's literally what's happening, right? That's literally what they do. They eat with a guy, they sleep with a guy, they travel with a guy. Like, majority of the time, they're spending a lot of time with Jota and their teammates, right? So a natural decline is obviously like kind of expected, you know. No one's really gonna crash out on them for that. But I just feel like that's not the sole reasoning as to why we are this bad. That's not the sole reasoning, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors, I should say. Sorry, there's a lot of reasoning. First reasoning, I'm gonna say as to why. Why did I say I'm American? You know, like, oh man, I know like the stats actually show from my channel, right, that a lot of you guys that watch my videos, majority of you guys are American. So American culture has a massive influence on me. Like, it's even influencing my lingo. So I don't even know why I just said Amma, but hey, who cares, innit? But one reason I would say as to why we are playing so bad right now is I just feel like the tactics, man. Tactics. Like, Arne Slot, man. Like, it's understandable as to why he's changed the tactic, and I'm gonna get onto that later in the video, right? I'm gonna get onto that. Like, that's like one of the last reasonings I have. But I just feel like the tactics, man. I feel like the stubbornness of Slot, in my opinion, is what's kind of leading us to go on to this slide down the table, slide in performances, dip in performances. And it's like, I don't know if it's just me, but in each of the games, I really haven't seen any tactical tweaks, other than players moving in and moving out. But like, when like a formation change or a role change to the players, you know, I really haven't seen any of that. I haven't really seen any tactical tweaks, any tactical changes, right? And I feel like the stubbornness of Slot, you know, it's gonna cost us. If this keeps going, right, you might have to go. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro, because things are really getting worse from here. Because you would have expected the guy, right, to kind of change things, you know, after like the 4th or 5th loss we had. Like, we've lost the loss on Nottingham Forest on Saturday, right? That kind of makes it 7 out of 8 losses we've had, or 7 in 8. You know, that's a lot of losses. So you would have kind of expected him to kind of change things up, be like, oh, okay, yeah, things are not going to plan right now at the moment. Like, we were barely winning games. That those first 5 games kind of feel like a fever dream now. Like, feels so far away since we had those first 5 wins. We're saying, yeah, signs of champions, all of this, all of that. Little did we know, bro, like there was worse to come. And after that, again, after the 4th or 5th loss, in my opinion, I feel like Slot should have kind of looked at it, saying that, okay, it's gonna get worse from here if I don't really change it. But I just feel like he still kind of insisted on the tactics, right? He hasn't really, you know, felt the need or maybe he probably has, but I don't know. In my opinion, he just hasn't really changed anything, right? We're becoming too predictable for teams, and the point in which we're becoming too predictable for teams kind of it was kind of emphasized in the Man United game in the post interview. I think it was Dalot. It was either Dalot or Amarim that came out saying that, oh, you know, we could just play long balls over these guys. That's how we hurt them. And man, they were not lying, because I think even in the Man City game, Man City were playing the intricate passes between each other, but like they were really doing damage with us on the long ball, and I think that's kind of been a story of the season. Really, teams are just hurting us with the long ball, and Slot, in my opinion, really hasn't done much to kind of stop that. In fact, long ball or short ball, we've been getting hurt. We've just been playing badly. We've been defending very badly. It feels like we've got a bagel in the middle of the team where teams are just playing through us, right? Konate is having a bad season. I don't know. Like, you see, that's actually one point I actually got. You see Konate, he's not playing very well. When are you gonna drop him? We literally have Joe Gomez waiting on the bench. It's not like Joe Gomez is recovering from injury or he is injured. No, like Gomez has been fit for the last few weeks now, and it's like you're seeing a dip in Konate's form. He's really struggling. He's in poor form. Like, I don't know. In my opinion, I would have wanted to see Joe Gomez a bit more over the last few games. The one positive that he has gotten, right, is him bringing Robertson back into the team. Like, those few games Robertson has come back into the team, we did look better. I don't know why he went back to Kirkes, bro. And it's not like I have nothing against Kirkes, but it's just the performances in which, or the games, sorry, we've had Robertson play. We have looked better. We have performed a bit better. That left-hand side has looked a bit better. It looked more healthier. And another thing, Ekatike, why are you benching Ekatike? Literally the only sort of attacker we have, the sort of forward that's in some kind of form. You bench him. I did not get that. So it's like the tactics, in my opinion, have been ludicrous to see this season. That's one reason as to why we've been sucking. Like we suck so bad. We've been bad this season. We've held so many L's. Cause I can't lie, bro. 6 losses. We're literally split down in the middle. 6 wins, 0 losses. I mean, 0 draws, 6 losses, bro. Man, 6 losses in 12 games is insane. That's 50% games you've lost. As champions, that's insane. That's another reason as to why we have been so bad is the summer transfer window. I just feel like we didn't really get it right, and it's not so much to do with the incomings, but kind of more so to do with the outgoings, right? When you let a lot of players leave, regardless of who you bring in, it's gonna be drastic change within the team. Not to mention you're bringing a lot of players in, so not only are you letting a lot out, you're bringing a lot in. Each to their own, like bringing a lot of players in without selling no players. That's a lot of change as well in its own right. So just having the two together, like, it's just gonna cause chaos, and that's what's been unfolding in front of our chaos, right? So the old players we let go, right? The two key ones, Trent and Diaz. Trent, massive role, massive player he had on the team, and Diaz as well. Like, not replacing Diaz, you know, like it was a problem. I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw that, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was excited with the Isak though. I was very, very excited, like over the moon with that. But like, letting go of Diaz, I'm not replacing him, because it's not the fact that we saw Diaz, because in my opinion, I would have sold him as well. The guy literally said he wants to leave, right? So I think a lot of rival fans or people in general kind of thought that, oh, it's a dumb decision that we sold Diaz. He literally said he wanted to go, right? So that's not the issue in itself. I felt like the issue was not replacing Diaz. And this season you kind of seen with the wingers that we've had, right? Salah's experiencing it. In my opinion, this wasn't expected. Like, I was expecting him to have a season like this last season, but hey, last year he just went crazy. But this was coming, so it's not a surprise to me. It hasn't come as to a surprise to me at all, right? With Gakpo really isn't the kind of winger to be taking on his man on the outside. He's more of like an inside direct player. He keeps things simple, which is okay, which is okay. But him and Salah are kind of the same in regards, and Salah isn't up to his standards, so his numbers aren't gonna be there. He's not gonna be as effective as he would be. And usually, in my opinion, how I would like my wingers to be is one that's kind of expressive, explosive, taking on his player, can stretch the game, and then you have the other one that does the damage inside. And I think that's the relationship Mane and Salah has had over the years, and that's why our attack was so successful. And it's not even just Mane and Salah. I think when you look at front threes in general, or attacking players or attacking wingers in general in any team, I think a successful attack is kind of has that blend, kind of has that mixture, right? And I think we have that mixture badly this season. And Slot doesn't trust Chiesa. I don't know why, but I do not know why. Like, it's the same situation as Konate is having with this at the centre back position, and how I would like to see Gomez. That's literally the same with Salah and Chiesa. I would kind of want to see more of Chiesa, but Slot has other plans. So yeah, back onto the winger situation. I just feel like that, in my opinion, there's a problem there, a massive problem. We ain't really got someone that's gonna open the game for us. It feels like everything is so packed off in the middle. Like, it's kind of claustrophobic in the middle at the moment. And also he has this weird tactic of inverting two, not one, because last season you had Trent that was inverting, and then you had Robertson just doing Robertson things, right? But he's inverting Kirkes and the right back Conor Bradley or Frimpong in. So like, we're literally there's no room in the middle of the park. But to actually tell a lie, I do believe that when we do play with Frimpong, he kind of does overlap a lot, which is kind of good. And I think in the first 5 games where Frimpong was playing a lot, coincidentally, we won all of those 5 games. We didn't play well in all of them, but we ended up winning. So I don't know. I just feel like we kind of need to expand the pitch when we're attacking a bit more. So the winger situation and the flanks in general is kind of a problem that we're having at the moment. Kind of coinciding with us letting a lot of players go, because Harvey Elliott as well was kind of instrumental to our success last year, and he's obviously left as well. So the outgoings and a lot of the ingoings, man, it's like the ingoings haven't really performed this year. When I look at Frimpong, he's been injured. Kirkes has been poor. I don't want to say abysmal, but like, even poor might be a stretch, because I don't want to go too crazy on the guy. But he hasn't lived up to the billing, right? Isak, he's had that problem with Newcastle. That's kind of derailed the start of his season. He's trying to come back into the season where a lot of teams are kind of reaching their top gear. We're still, even though we haven't been playing well, but like, we're match speed essentially. He's still playing catch up at the moment, right? So he hasn't really been his best. Florian Wirtz, new league. Me personally, I expect Florian Wirtz to come of age, right? But this year, I'm not gonna lie, so far he's not playing like 110 million. In my opinion, some may argue he's not even played up to half of that price tag. But I'm not gonna lie, I think that's a bit cruel on the guy, because I do think, removing the stats, I think he's played alright. But even he's had like a slow start to the season. He hasn't really been himself, right? And it's like Ekitike, like the only player we've brought in this season. And Mamardashvili's been good. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. He's been good. He's been tough. He's been good. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie about that one. Mamardashvili. I was gonna say Ekitike as the only player we've brought in that's been like kind of good or decent or great, right? I wouldn't say great. I was gonna say just Ekitike, but Mama's been good. I'm not gonna lie. He, in my opinion, I felt like he had a couple of good performances when Addison was out. But even Ekitike is like, he started the season very well, but ever since then he's been on like he stagnated a bit, and then he's been on a dip. He hasn't really been. Ekitike in the last 5 games isn't the Ekitike in the first 5 games where he was popping off. It's not the same Ekitike. So even him, he hasn't really been great. So the fact that we've let a lot of players of the outgoings leave that have contributed so much to our success, and we're bringing in new players, and the new players haven't, really been playing well, that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for disaster right there. You feel me? So that's reason number two. Like a lot of outgoings and a lot of ingoings. The ingoings haven't really been amazing. So my last point. This was the point I said earlier in the video. That I want to talk about. You know, the tactics, man. A lot of people in the fan base are saying that, you know, they don't really get why Slot's changed the tactics. They're kind of furious at him as to why he changed the tactics. And it's like, man, I feel like the reasoning is right in front of our eyes. We've lost a vital part of the system. We've lost a vital player in the team. Simple as. And I know a lot of Liverpool fans, right, have ill feelings towards said person. You know, things are currently sour between this man. But Trent Alexander-Arnold, bro, I think, listen, we kind of have to put aside our feelings to the guy and how we feel. But Trent, man, what a play, you know, like what a bro. The things that guy was doing from the right back position with that right boot of his was automatic. It was green giant. It was amazing to see, and he's such a unique player because, in my opinion, there's no player in world football like him. Like in his the skill set he has in the position he plays and the way he can affect the game, he's literally, there's no carbon copy of a footballer like that. And I understand the angle we went with in getting Frimpong, right? Because even though stylistically there's no fullback to Trent, right? But like, you know, people are kind of angry with the fact that we went for an attacking-minded midfielder. But I kind of get that reasoning. When we first bought Frimpong, I was like, yeah, this is a good signing because what is Trent, right? Trent is an attacking fullback. Frimpong is an attacking fullback. I feel like in the last 2-3 seasons, Frimpong has been, his name has been up there with one of the best right backs in the world. And he's like been top 3, top 5 best, what you consider an attacking fullback. He's been top 3, top 5 in the world, right? So I thought it was shrewd business. I'm not gonna lie. At the time when we signed Frimpong, I thought it was a good signing just based on the fact that you're replacing an attacking-minded fullback with another attacking-minded fullback. So I got no qualms about that signing, right? So I do get the angle that we tried to come from, but again, even though Frimpong is an attacking fullback, you just don't have the skill set Trent has. No one has it, and Trent was the system essentially, right? Trent was the flipping mother flipping system, bro. He was the system. He was the cog. He was the vital cog. He was the biggest cog in the team. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna call a spade, bro. And losing Trent, right? Like, that's, in my opinion, I feel like we were preparing for him to basically give him the keys to the city, right? Salah's aging, Van Dijk's aging. They're kind of like him, Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, Robertson. Robertson's aging. I could kind of see him leaving the same time as Virgil and Salah, to be honest. I think Alisson leaves in the next 2 years. That's how we signed him, that's really, right? So I think those 4 guys were kind of the last 4 guys standing, along with Trent. So they kind of saw Trent as the younger one, you know, the one to kind of lead Liverpool into the new age, right? I feel like the way I said new age was like, I don't know, like this some One Piece. You know when Shanks pulled up to Wano, hey. I feel like they kind of envisioned Trent to be that guy, you know, because Trent, in my opinion, he's the only fullback you could build a team around. Like, in my opinion, I feel like we wanted to build a team around Trent. That's why when Trent left, word to MPJ, bro, hurt a nigga's heart, man. Hurt a boy's heart, man. Like, you could tell like the higher ups were devastated with that because they kind of envisioned Trent to be the team, basically, to be the system, because Trent was the system, right? You know, he was the one. Literally, our attack kind of originated from him. The way we played kind of originated from him. Like, our tactical thoughts kind of revolved around Trent's strengths and weaknesses, right? And from there, in my opinion, I felt like we kind of built from there. But I felt like majority of the things that we were kind of doing was around or evolved around Trent. And it's like, Trent as a footballer, man, like when you're losing that amount of quality, it's tough to take, bro. I think that's why we spent 120 million on Florian Wirtz, because we had to spend that cash to get a bit of quality like that, because you're missing a lot of creativity. So I could get why we spent so much money on a creative player like Wirtz, because Trent's creativity is off the charts, right? And we lost that for free. So it kind of also did make sense that why we got Wirtz. But it's like Trent has literally been the reason why we haven't played with a number 10 in so long. It's been like 8-9 years, bro, since Coutinho. We haven't had a 10 at Liverpool since Coutinho, bro. And that's because of Trent's brilliance. Like, Trent has literally enabled us to, like, basically going forward not required us to play with a number 10. And yeah, like essentially he's like a quarterback, basically. You know, his role is like a quarterback. He's like a Patrick Mahomes. You know, he could take us to a Super Bowl. You know, he could carry the team on his back, take us to a Super Bowl with that rocket arm, with that rocket launch of a right arm. You know, Trent Alexander-Arnold, that rocket launch of a right foot. Listen, man, he could get there into those little pockets. You know, Trent was inverting in his last few seasons at Liverpool. You know, he was doing that a lot. So getting into those little spaces, finding them, picking out his passes, and I think that's typical Trent as well. And the game that comes to my mind is Arsenal versus Liverpool. I speak of this game a lot, you know, but I felt like that's one of my favourite moments of Trent, I should say, and Salah, to be honest. It's like Trent in that rightish centre hole, that pocket he always used to operate in, you know. Getting blamed the entire game, you know. You know Martinelli versus Trent. Bro, anytime Martinelli sees Trent, bro, Martinelli's a regular customer to the shop. Like, it's green giant, bro, from there. Like, it's insane, right? You know Trent and Martinelli, bro, it's chicken. Every time Martinelli sees Trent, he's cooking his club, bro. It's a madness. It's a mismatch, yeah? Trent's getting palmed in all game, usual, you know? But I think this moment basically summarizes Trent. You know, gets blamed the entire game, but all it takes is one moment. You switch off, you get punished, bro. Literally played a crazy pass to Darwin Núñez, who charges down the right hand side. Salah cuts his run into the centre of the box. Darwin Núñez passes it, and Salah has basically essentially a tap in. And I felt like that kind of summarized Trent's game. You know, within a blink of an eye, you could be on the wrong foot. You could be pedaling behind. You know, you could be on the verge of suffering a goal. That's literally, in my opinion, summarizes Trent. That moment right there summarized Trent, right? So I feel like us missing that piece, Trent was the system. So essentially, we're gonna have to change the system, right? Before, when we played with Trent, we didn't have a number 10. Now we're playing with a number 10 for the first time in a decade. So of course, a system change is gonna have to happen. So I feel like the system has kind of been, I wouldn't say shocked, but like, you know, it's new. You can definitely tell it is a massive change to the team, because in a way, it kind of explains why we've been so vulnerable defensively as well. Because it's like, bearing in mind, I think none of the midfielders we have are defensive minded, right? Even Gravenberch playing in the DM position, I don't think he's defensive minded. It's like, before we brought in Wirtz and we're playing with a number 10, the midfield was fairly balanced. You know, we're playing with balanced minded midfielders, even though none of them is a first think defender, right? Like, my first thought is to defend, even though none of them think like that, in my opinion, at least. I feel like it was still successful because you're having three well balanced players, right? So they could just rotate around, you know. And I felt like that was what was happening last season. And then it kind of covered our flaws, right? But this year, you know, when you have a player like Wirtz, right, in order to get the best out of him, you kind of need to release responsibility from him. And I think that in itself is a problem that Slot is facing. That's why he's kind of had to play him on the left. And I felt like when we did play him on the left against Madrid, we looked a bit more solid. But hey, I don't know. That's just what I thought. But when we have been playing him in the middle, even though it's kind of like, instead of having 3 balanced-minded midfielders, we kind of have 2 balanced-minded midfielders, if that makes sense. And none of them are fast-think defenders. So any little holes we've had last season, now that we're playing with a 10, it kind of opens up the pitch now for the opposing team. So it kind of exacerbates space in our team, right? And then Konate having a bad season is making it worse. That's why I could kind of see why we pushed for Guehi and why we're still pushing for Guehi. And Kirkers as well, not being what he was supposed to be. And Robertson kind of having a decline-ish is having or creating another hole on the left for teams to exploit. So that kind of, in my opinion, kind of explains as to why we've been so bad defensively. But yeah, and it kind of coincides with the point that Trent leaving kind of means we have to change the system. But I feel like I've yapped this entire video. But essentially, I just kind of made this video to kind of say that, in my opinion, I truly believe that what happens to Jota is still a tragedy, and we should always have him in like our thoughts in it, like R.I.P. Jota and his brother all the time. But I just feel like it shouldn't be used as a sole reasoning, as the sole kind of claim as to why we're sitting in 11th right now. It shouldn't, because it's been a mixture of a lot of things. Players dropping off as well, like Salah and Konate, players having a few dips, like reasons I talked in the video, incomings not living up to the billing, a lot of outgoings, because tactics, slot stubbornness, a lot of things have kind of contributed to this slide that we're experiencing. But I just want to say, man, we just need to keep our heads up, man. You know, I feel like 12 games in, there's still a lot of the season to be played. We have a lot of cup competitions for us to attack. We've got the Champions League that we're still in a healthy position. We're like in and around the top 8 at the time of shooting this video. I know Chelsea and the rest of the teams, Barcelona, Chelsea tonight, you know, so we might be lower, to be honest. But, if we win all our games, or maybe not all our games, but like if we do what we have to do, we're still in a healthy position in the Champions League, so we could also attack that as well. And we just need I know the league is done, in my opinion. If you ask me, it's long gone. It was gone when, in my opinion, it officially ended when we lost to Man City. But we can still recover in the league, you know, get ourselves into the top 4, and again attack those cup competitions, and let's see how well we could do in the Champions League. So we just kind of need to have our heads up, you know. And yeah, that's just my thoughts, my reasons as to why we have sucked, as to why we have been so bad all season.